let me show you. This would be a plane shift line, forehead to the temple. And if the camera pans over to the photograph, this is not form light. This is kind of front light. And you can always tell what type of light you have by looking at the shadow. The shadow is minimal, and the shadow is this is a cast shadow. So the light's a little bit more up above, and it's kind of front light, because this is not going on a diagonal. And there's a little shadow over here. Upper lip is in shadow. Lower lip is cast in shadow, and that's cast in shadow too. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus in on the shadow shape just a little bit, okay? And I'm going to draw this shadow shape, okay? I'm going to get the angle of his eyebrow, and let's just put in a little bit of tone. Cool. And now let's get the underplane of his nose. I'm kind of doing shadow shapes and underplanes at the same time. And now that nose casts a shadow. Get that little underplane, cast shadow. Upper lip, like I said, is underplane, cast shadow. Sorry, no cast shadow, just underplane shadow. Lower lip is casting shadow on the chin, and that is showing me the front plane at the same time that I do that. So planes and shadow shapes, you want to think about them at the same time. Now, let's go back. Jawbone. Really light, not dark. Okay, that's perfect. And now I'm going to draw the shadow shape, Adam's apple, coming right on down to the center of his neck. It's going to be like a little shadow over here. And now this is a bit of an underplane as we can possibly be on front light. So now that's a quick structure of the head, and I like that. So now if you had 6 hours to work on this drawing, that's your start. And now you have shape of hair, shape of face. You have some very primitive shadow shapes that are going to help you get measurements. You're pulling these lines down. You're pulling the lines down, pulling the lines down. That's all really cool. Let me get in the shadow shape. So now let me push this drawing just a tad more for you. Let me just press down a little bit harder. I'm going to come on in. This is going to be no longer than like a 12-minute drawing. And I'm going to just show you how you would kind of finish a very quickly structured head in 12 minutes. Okay, so I'm just going to add some black. Let's scratch the word black, and let's add a darker tone. Because black you save for last. Black is going to really be like used to punch up your deepest blacks on the portrait, and that you save for last. And again, for me, it's all about like an eraser thing. You can't erase out like a really dark line. So if you gradually build up like this, I really try to get my students to do this. It's a safer way to draw. It's not about doing a 5-minute line drawing where you just got to press down hard on your pencil and you just got to kind of make it happen. This DVD is more about doing a longer portrait drawing, and when you do a longer portrait drawing, you work light to dark, and then that is a safe way to get your proportions down, and a safe way to kind of gradually work in your measurements. Okay, so now let me just do a little bit. Let's pan over to the photo, and right over here, cheekbone. Top plane is catching that highlight. This is a tad of an underplane underneath that cheekbone. So now, if I come back to the drawing, I'm going to do a very simplistic, give it a little structure, and this would be from the back of my ear. Remember we talked about it in the first chapter, sternomastoid muscle. So this is going to be done very lightly as well. Put in some tone, just like a little indication. I so don't want to outline that. And when I draw my ear, I'm going to do just very, very, very simplistic shadow shapes. Okay.